It's almost a year and a half now, but the day she heard it, she went into a shock that seared her soul and left her senses numb. For weeks, she lay sinking into silent grief. The charred remains were a small distorted bundle handed over by the people for whom he had worked as a driver. That day was another routine trip of driving the truck to Jiri. 10 years of driving on the highway, a mother, kids, sisters, and his wife and child, all dependent on his earnings in addition to the subsistence agriculture. Checkposts symbolize the conflict in the country as old as his driving experience. Roads passing through beautiful landscapes seem to be permanently dotted by them or by rocks and boulders. They said he stopped his truck on the highway, and as he lifted one of the stones blocking the road, it exploded, blowing him to bits. With the pain of her son's death, slowly something dropped inside her, bleeding. When she moved from one place to another, patches of blood left a sick, sticky mark. She continued to lose blood. For days, her senses could not comprehend the truth. Every time that she looked out of the window, she recalled the day she heard the news of the incident on the radio and ran uphill to seek out the truth from someone, anyone. Running up this trail, a neighbor met her who confirmed the truth of the death. Ujeli could not bear the shock and lost consciousness. The body was not shown to her. There was not much left to show. Parts stitched together. Cries tore into the night, pleading for an answer from a dead son.
ए बाबु मलाई कहाँ गयौ नि तिमी मलाई लैजाऊ मेरो बाबु मलाई लैजाऊ मेरो बाबा तिमी ती लैजाऊ नि
There was no money at home to even cremate the body. The next morning, some neighbors built a funeral pyre and carried out the cremation. That same week, one quiet morning, the daughter-in-law and grandson left home forever, leaving Ujeli and her two daughters.
अनि मेरो कोही छैन मेरो भन्ने मेरो यो अर्का घरमा बन्द भइरहेको छ आज निस्की बोल्ने निस्की भनेको छ कहाँ जाने के गर्ने कहाँ लगाएर राख्ने जुन गर्ने भन्ने गइहाल्यो मैले लास देखिनँ मलाई देखाएनन्.
The children either sat near the mother consoling her or crying themselves. Ujeli does have a husband who never seems to come home. He works somewhere in a brick kiln in Kathmandu. Whatever the son earned was enough to keep them going, and she with her daughter-in-law was able to work as tenant farmers on the small fields, paying a 50% of the yield to retain the tenancy of living under a roof.
माथि बसा मलाई त्यो छोराको चाहिँ त्यो बाबेमा नेताउनु मन लाग्यो.
Ujeli became a shadow inside the dark room. As her heart ached, so did her body. To avoid soiling the bedding with blood, she sat against walls to rest. The hearth remained cold. She had to get up and start work on her own now, in spite of her sickness. It was the fear of losing the tenancy which dragged her to the fields. The landlord had inquired about the fields and wanted the produce in time, or she would even lose the only shelter and possibility of food left for her. No daughter-in-law or son to help her, Ujeli toiled for food. Even the cattle had begun to starve without grass. She had asked some people to inquire of any insurance compensation from the transport company. They said the amount was claimed by the daughter-in-law. How much it was, Ujeli never knew.
उजेल दिदी हजुर तपाईँ बाहिर आउनुहोस् त एकछिन कुरा गरौँ. उजेल दिदी तपाईँसँग केही कुरा गर्नु थियो. उजेल दिदी बस्नुहोस्. अब तपाईँलाई थाहा भयो कि मेरो बुहारीहरू काठमाडौँबाट आउँदैछ. अब म पनि घरबार मान्छे हेर्नु. अब उताबाट यता सर्ने रे. अब चाहिँ बुहारी भाउजूहरू सबै यहीँ सर्ने भनेका छन्. अब यो घर र बारी तपाईँले छोड्नुपर्ने भयो.
म चाहिँ अब छोड्ने छैन घर चाहिँ. अब कहाँ जानु अब घर खोज्छु अनि छोडिदिन्छु. घर नखोजिकन छोड्ने काम आएन. यत्रो बालबच्चा बाख्रा कुखुरा यत्रो कहाँ लगाएर राख्नु मैले. कहीँ पाइनु छैन घर. अब हजुरहरू आउनुहुन्छ भने घर कहाँ खोज्नु हो. अब
वर्षको 15,000 नि तपाईँले दिनुभएको छैन. अनि तपाईँसँग आम्दानीको स्रोत पनि छैन. कसरी तिर्नुहुन्छ त तपाईँ?
यत्रो वर्षभरि म एउटाले काम गरेर म आधा बालीले कहाँ दिनु सक्छु र. म दिनु सक्दिनँ आधा बाली तपाईँहरूलाई. अब म घर पनि छोड्ने होइन. म अहिले अब म कहाँ जाने बर्खा महिनामा. म बर्खा महिना जानु पनि सक्दिनँ. कहीँ पनि घर पनि कहीँ पाइँदैन. यत्रो बालबच्चा मैले कहाँ लगाएर राख्ने. कोही छैन. अब म बिरामी मान्छेले अब कहाँ लगाएर राख्नु.
More hands were needed for work. The children had to drop out of the school. They missed school. Every day went by in attending the animals. The first time we met Ujeli was a year ago. While studying human ecology in our course, 6 of us were given a field assignment in Keraghari, a ward of Pachkal Village Development Committee. We entered this village of 800 people with the aim of learning rural household problems. Just a 30 minutes drive from our university, the village seemed remote and in need of many basic facilities. Every aspect of life reflects bare subsistence and nothing more. Like almost every village of Nepal, it is beautiful, but this beauty seems to lie unacknowledged, unvisited. About 5 months had passed since Hassan's death. Her bleeding continued, but with no money to spare, everything was difficult. At first, it was a casual stop to fill up a questionnaire in the usual routine of the study tour. Her story started with a few fumbling words, but as we listened, she began to pour it out. What struck us the most was the complete non-existence of any support she could count on. Her loss painfully meaningless. This harsh existence of a landless tenant farmer now tenfold harsher. Our questionnaires too seemed meaningless in front of her. It seemed what she needed was immediate medical help, which will at least reduce her physical pain and make her stronger to help her own self. From that day, we had a closer look at the women of Nepal. Millions across the country, lurking as shadows, sifting for a more rightful existence. Some research on women reveals that Nepal is a signatory of many international conventions and is also one of the 170 countries who ratified the 1979 UN Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. This convention stands as the principal legal document that defines what discrimination against women means. Its application would be an answer to the long echoing call of the Nepalese women. Back in the hostel, we planned how to collect some funds and simultaneously start inquiring about the medical treatment. The next thing was an announcement on the public address system. In a few days, we had 1700 rupees. Not knowing exactly how much would be required and what Ujeli's actual condition was, we went to the Dhulikhel hospital. We soon found out that the hospital ran a charity department under the charge of Dr. Narayan Nepali. Dr. Narayan listened and concluded that Ujeli probably had a dropped uterus, for which the proper treatment seemed its surgical removal. He recommended a checkup by Dr. Shakya, the gynecologist. We would need at least 13,000 rupees, even though the hospital was ready to bear some of the expenses for medicine. It was a cubic club of the biotech department who suggested putting up a money collection box in the 3-day exhibition they were holding. We wrote a short story explaining Ujeli's pain and problems along with the box.
मैले चाहिँ अब यो बिरामी हुँदाखेरि यहाँ बसिरहेको थिएँ उठ्नै नसक्ने भएको थिएँ अनि बिसुबिजेर गर्ने नानीहरू आउनुभयो है आएर अनिखेरि तपाईँलाई के भएको मम्मी भनेर सोधेँ है
With almost 11,000 needed, we wondered how much would come from contributions here. At the end of 3 days of exhibition, we had collected 4,051 rupees. Still short by a good 7,000, we discussed the problem with Sabita Aryal, our teacher. She got in touch with Stitching Nepal, a Dutch organization working for community in Pachkhal area, and was able to procure the remaining 7,000 rupees from them. In the meantime, a friend's family in Kathmandu was willing to accept one of the children as the domestic help, along with providing schooling for the child. With mixed feeling of sadness and relief, the girl was eager to get back to school. Ujeli was just left with one small daughter, for whom we continued to look for some prospective opportunity. Even today, female literacy in Nepal is about half that of male literacy. Almost 3 months since meeting Ujeli, we were finally able to get her admitted into hospital for her surgery. She stayed in the hospital for almost 2 weeks till she had completely recovered.
यस्ता साना साना बच्चाहरू आएर मलाई यत्रो गरेपछि अरूलाई नि गर्नुपर्छ म जस्तो दुखी अरू पनि छन् मलाई मात्रै गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने नि त छैन नि म जस्तो दुखी अरू छन् मलाई जस्तो घटना अरूलाई नि पर्यो होला मेरो मात्रै होइन अहिले मुलुक संसारै यस्तो घटना छ त्योभन्दा ठुलो मान पाउन् आशिष दिन्छन् धर्म हुन्छ अनि किन मन्दिर बनाउनु किन पार्टी बनाउनु यस्तो बिरामीहरूलाई उचालेको यस्तो गरिबहरूलाई सुरक्षा गरेको साह्रै धर्म हुन्छ मैले चाहिँ योभन्दा नि ठुलो मान पाउन् भनेर मैले आशिष दिएरै म हस्पिटल आएर निस्किरहेको छु कि त्योभन्दा नि ठुलो मान हो किन यतिखेर मेरो त्यो मरेर गएको छोरो निस्के ल मैले त्यो सोचिरहेको छु यी त मेरो त मरेर गएको छोरै निस्के मेरो त यो अन्त म आँखामा चाहिँ आइरहनु पर्छ कि 6 महिना 7 महिना आइरहनु पर्छ मेरो मरेर गएको छोरो साइड निस्केँ मैले त्यति दुःख पाउँदाखेरि त्यो भइदिए त्यसले मलाई हस्पिटल लान्थ्यो त्यो भएन नहुँदाखेरि बाबुहरू अनि मेरो छोरोसम्म निस्केन नि त यी छोरी होइन मेरो त छोरो हो हेर्नु त्यतिसम्म गरे मलाई तर गर्नु गरे तर योभन्दा ठुलो मान पाउने यिनीहरूले मैले हाँसिदिएको